Good morning, Junior 6. I really miss all of you. I would like to start now by continuing our English syllabus. I'm going to start by the grammar session. This is if conditional type 3. Why do I use it? Actually, I use if conditional type 3 to talk about an imaginary past, a past that didn't happen at all, but I try to imagine that it happened. Maybe we hope to. So, the usage of if conditional type 3 is to talk about a past situation that didn't happen. We imagine it happening. We imagine a different past. As an example for this, if I had won the lottery, I would have bought a new house. Look at this sentence. This sentence has got two parts. We call a part a clause. So it's divided into two parts. The first part, starting with if, is called if clause. This part until the comma is called if clause. The second part, starting from I till the end of the sentence, I would have bought a new house. That's the second part, which is called the main clause. Usually, if you will look here, you will find that if I had won the lottery, this is a reason to what is going to happen. I would have bought a new house, which means that the first part, which has got if in it, or if clause part, is usually a reason to the second part. But what about the second part? It's a result to the first clause. It's a result to if clause. More example. If I would set my alarm, I would have woken up on time. Did you set your alarm? No. Did you wake up on time? No. So it's an imaginary sentence. If I would set my alarm, this part of sentence is called a if clause. It has got if in it. I would have woken up on time. That's the second part, which is called the main clause. I can hear that somebody is asking me, can I say the sentence in the other way around? Can I say, I would have bought a new house if I had won the lottery? Of course, it's possible to say it. But be careful. When we have if clause in the beginning of the sentence, it should be separated from the second clause by adding a comma in the middle. Let's move to another example. If I hadn't run to school, I would have been late. If I hadn't run to school, I would have been late. It means that this person, he ran to school. If not, he would have been late for his work. Can you see here that is written in the short form? Because the short form of had, of course, it's apostrophe D. What about the negative form? As you can see, if I have a sentence written in the negative form, I just add not after had. And take care that had comes to all the people, all the pronouns, I had, she had, they had, and so on. So, now it's time for the form. What about the form of the sentence of if clause? The sentence has got two verbs, as you can see, and two different clauses. So, after if, the verb should be written in the past perfect. Had plus the past participle of the verb. What about the second part? It should be written would plus have plus the past participle. This is the reason, and that is the result. Let's move to other examples. Here we have got, if he had walked to school, he would have been late. If he had walked to school, he would have been late. So it means that he didn't walk to school and he wasn't late for school. As you can see, the part starting by if clause, by if is the if clause, and the second part is the other clause, which is the main one, and it's a result to the first one. Look at the third example. If she had known about my coat, she would have been mad. Did she know anything about my coat? Of course she didn't. Otherwise, she would have been mad. So, the first part, as I said, if. And the verb immediately which comes after if, it should be written in the past perfect. And how do I write the past perfect? It should be written had plus the past participle. What about the second part of the sentence? The main clause, the result. It has to be written, she would have been mad. She would have, this is the form, and been is the past participle of the given verb. Another example here. If they had given him a ride, he would have arrived at school on time. Did they give him a ride? Of course not. Unfortunately, he wasn't given a ride. So after if, the verb has to be written in the past perfect. Had plus the past participle. Whereas the second verb, he would have been arrived at school on time. The second verb would have arrived. So it means that I have to write would have plus the past participle of the verb arrive, which is arrived. One more example. If I had remembered my coat, I would have stayed dry. Did you remember your coat? Unfortunately not. So if I had remembered, had plus the past participle, past perfect form of the verb, I would have stayed dry. So this is would have plus the past participle of the verb. Don't forget that if clause is the reason, it's the first action, leading to the main clause, which is the result, the second action. Last sentence. I would have invited Jane to the party if I had seen her. I didn't invite her at all because I didn't see her. It's imagining something that should have happened in the past, but unfortunately it didn't. I would have invited Jane. Here I'm starting with the main clause. I would have plus the past participle, and then if I had seen her, that's if clause having the past perfect verb. To sum up all what I have said right now, I use it to talk about or imagine something that should have been different in the past, imagining a different past action. The form, to clause, two parts. If clause, main clause, past perfect, would have plus the past participle. If clause is the reason, main clause, that's the result. When we start by if clause, ended by a comma before starting the second clause. All people or pronouns, they take had. I had, she had, they had, and so on. The short form of had is apostrophe D. And the negative form, just add not after had. For example, I hadn't and she hadn't. Let's now start answering a short exercise taken from your grammar booklets, page 27. Look here. I tell you the news if I had seen you sooner. How can I correct this verb? I tell you the news if I had seen you sooner. This is if, here, it's written over there. So the second part of the sentence, this is if clause. But what about the first part? It will be I would have told you the news if I had seen you sooner. Let's move to number 2. I would have bought the larger model if I be able to afford it. Where is if clause? It's the second part. And that's the reason for the first part. So, after if, I said that the verb should be written in the past perfect. So, if I had been able to afford it, the sentence will be, I would have bought the larger model if I would have been able to afford it. Let's move to number 3. If we have enough money, we would have gone to the concert. This is if. After if, the verb should be in the past perfect. So if we had enough money, we would have gone to the concert. I can hear that someone is asking, Miss, can I write had? Yes, we said it before that for the form of the past perfect, the first verb should be had, and the second one is the past participle of the given verb. Since here it's have, so it should be had. Finally, the sentence will be if we had had. Let's move to the first also 3 sentences in your grammar booklets, page 28. If you, to check the car, it not to break down in the middle of the desert. To has meaning? No, it hasn't got any meaning. It's just to write the verb in the infinitive form. Look here. If we check. After if, the verb has to be in the past perfect. If you had checked the car, it, what about the second part? Wouldn't, because you have not, wouldn't have broken down in the middle of the concert. It wouldn't have broken down in the middle of the concert. If it not rain, the children play outside. If it, the verb will be in the past perfect. So if it hadn't rained, the children would have played outside. The third sentence, if my parents not be so tired, they watch the film on TV. If my parents hadn't been so tired, they would have watched the film on TV. Hope now you have understood this lesson well, and I want you to open your grammar booklets now. Please start answering from pages 27 till page 32, and I'll try to share the answers with you. Thank you.